Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I thought I'd share a Bible journaling process using the new release from BTW4G. This is Pleasing in His Sight. I did just do an unboxing of this release. I'm going to put both of these videos up at the same time. In that video, I mentioned that I was going to do a journaling process just to kind of give you guys some ideas for how to use some of the items from the release and see it in action. And in my unboxing video, I actually talked about the kind of topic of this devotional being, what are the way that we can live our life that is pleasing to God? What can we do that, is pleasing to God? And I made note in that unboxing video that, it's not about earning our salvation. That's not it at all. It should just be in response to. It's our thankfulness to God for what has been done for us. That is why we live out in a way that's pleasing to Him. And so as I sat down to start working in this kit, day one, Judy is fantastic and did exactly what I kind of briefed in that video. So day one's talking about just that. She says, before we study what it is that brings pleasure to the heart of God, it is vital at the outset to clarify that what this does not mean. Seeking to please God is not a means to salvation. Ephesians 2, 8, and 9 make this crystal clear. And so she spends that first day of this devotional talking about the gospel and what that means. And so this is one of the many reasons why I love the devotional content from BTW4G. It is just fantastic, you guys. So we are starting in day one. We are journaling in Ephesians chapter 2. This section in my Bible is titled By Grace Through Faith. And so this is really going to be, kind of the bare bones what it means right there. So I've gone ahead and pulled together a few things from the release, and then I have some other add-on things. I've got a verse card from the kit. This little Polaroid piece was from the add-on ephemera pack. I did go ahead and just trim down the edges. That's going to house my title. I have some floral pieces from the kit. I did trim away some of the white from that. And then these are the label stickers that are an add-on, and Judy has this hymn for us in here, some lyrics from a hymn. And so I went ahead and just typed those out directly on the labels, and I'm going to be including that in my page. And then I have a few other items here. I wanted to show you, I had gotten these Simon Hurley stamping blocks from BTW4G many months ago. I did use these recently in a Word Study Wednesday video that I did, but I've just done the one video. And so I wanted to show this technique again where I use this stamping foam with an embossing folder, and I'm going to use this for my background. So again, everything will be linked down below, but maybe if you have not placed an order yet, maybe throw some of these into your order when you place it. They're fairly inexpensive. I think you get 4 of these blocks for like $5 and some change. And so I thought it'd be fun to show you a way to use them and maybe give you some inspiration. You can use them with your stencils, anything that's got texture. So I will be showing that in the video today. And if you have more questions, want more details, you could check out the Word Study Wednesday from last week. I go into more detail on how to use that. So let me go ahead. We'll put you guys on fast forward, and we're going to journal this passage in Ephesians 2, 8 through 9. It says, for by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. So let's go ahead and put you on fast forward, and we'll put together this page. All right, so typically you use one of these embossing folders to put texture on paper. So you run it through your die cutting machine, but I'm going to use it to add texture to this stamping foam. So this is a foam. You heat it up with your heat tool for about 20 to 30 seconds. I think, if I remember correctly, I do about 30 seconds. I just count in my head while I'm heating it up, and then you immediately flip it over and push it into your texture, whether that is a piece of fabric or a basket or a embossing folder or a stamp or a die or whatever it is. Anything that has texture, you press it down, and you'll see it's going to take on that texture onto this block. And now it's set in there. You can use this over and over and over and over again, and then you just reheat it and it makes the pattern go away, and then you can put a new pattern on there. So it is reusable, but as long as it doesn't get too hot, you can just continuously use this set pattern. So I am adding some gingerbread Versamagic chalk ink to this, and then you can stamp with it like a stamp. So I just kind of tested it out on that paper first. It does help to spritz your ink with a little bit of water just to kind of help it move and be a little bit smoother when you stamp with it. There's lots of different ways that you can use this. Simon Hurley does a lot of tutorial videos for this, but I'm just looking for a easy way to pick up texture and transfer it to my background. So it does not need to be anything perfect. You'll see here I stamped this off several times on the paper, sprayed it with some water, and then now I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to my background. So this is like, I stamped it 3 or 4 times on the paper before I took it to my page. So it does hold on to quite a bit of ink. And you just kind of have to play around with it. I kind of stayed away from inking the edges of the block. That way I didn't get harsh lines. I just wanted a very soft background. And then I just clean it with a baby wipe and it's good to go. So that's how I did the background. Now I'm going to go ahead and make some additional little die cut pieces. So I pulled out one of the papers from this new release, and I have these paper rose leaf dies, and I'm going to go ahead and die cut these. You'll notice that in my die cutting machine, I am using a magic mat instead of a clear plate on the bottom. That is new. I've been using it for a few months, and I actually really, really like it. If you don't know anything about die cutting, I'll link a Tip Tuesday down below all about die cutting, but that magic mat is supposed to last longer than the acrylic plate that you usually have on the bottom there. So I went ahead and die cut a bunch of those leaves from that yellow patterned paper, and I'm going to use those to kind of fill in my cluster. So you'll see here as I start to put everything together, I pulled out that pink doily from my stash, and then here is where I'm going to add those yellow leaves in with the floral die cuts from the kit. And this just adds a little more solid color to my cluster here, and also kind of fills out the little floral clusters. So at this point, I'm just kind of laying everything down. Now I do turn up the brightness on my camera a little bit, so it's kind of hard to see that background, but you can see all of the fun stamping texture in person in the background there. And it was very simple, very quick and easy, and that way I'm not just working on a blank canvas. So on this Polaroid piece here, I am going to go ahead and add my title, which is the title from day 1, The Truth of Our Salvation. I'm using a mix of the tile alphas and then the floral alphas that come with the kit. That floral pattern, oh my gosh, has to be one of my hands down favorite floral patterns ever. It just has such a beautiful, feminine, kind of vintage. Oh, I love it. I need it on everything. I love the florals this month. And you'll know sometimes I go in and outline the letters, but this time since it's on that dark blue background, they seem to stand out pretty okay. So I'm just going to leave them as is. And I spent a lot of time kind of fussing and staging and figuring out where I wanted things before I glued it down. I'm going to go ahead and use a liquid adhesive to adhere everything. This has been my tried and true. I will link it down below. Like I've said in several videos and in my live, I think I talked about it on Instagram recently, that a lot of my dry adhesive tapes have started to let go in my older Bibles. And so I have tried everything, the dollar store, the name brand. I mean, I've tried all kinds of dry adhesives, and I still have pieces of things falling out of my old Bibles. So I would highly suggest using a liquid glue. This one in particular dries pretty quick, so you're not having to wait a long dry time. It gives you a little bit of wiggleability movement, but it keeps everything adhered so far. So I went ahead and glued everything down, stuck those labels down, and then I had this weird, awkward empty space that I wasn't really planning on. So you can see I'm trying out a whole bunch of different things to try to fill in that little empty nook there. I ended up pulling out this camera piece from the additional ephemera set that you can purchase to go along with the kit. Wasn't planning on using it, but you know what? It kind of works as a fun kind of focal point there. And then now I'm going to add some splatters to bring in some more blue. So I'm using distress paints. I first started with chipped sapphire. Now I'm going to add a little bit of black soot. And then when I add water and thin this out, it's not quite the right color. So I go in and add just a little bit of prize ribbon to kind of brighten it up a little bit. I like using distress paint for my splatters because they are meant to work with water, so they thin out really easily, better than regular acrylic paint, but they stay opaque. And so they are not going to suck up the color that might be behind it, and they're also not going to be translucent, so they really maintain the color of the paint that I splatter. And so that's just kind of been my go-to versus using like watercolor or something like that. So I'm just adding some there and here and everywhere. You can see I go in with my paintbrush and make some a little bit bigger, just to kind of break things up. And that is going to be it for the intro today. Super, super simple and quick. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Check out the description box for links to everything, including the unboxing video that I just posted. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.